Welcome to episode 50 of How to Play Like a WoP Pro. Today I'm going to be showing you a replay in the GSOR on Karelia Assault Attack. Now, Karelia Assault Attack is probably one of, if not the best, sides of any map for combined damage in the entire game, and it kind of doesn't even matter what tank class you're in. I mean, only basically TDs are bad on this. I mean, even TDs, they're not bad, they're pretty good still. But this thing is a fully rotatable turret, so I barely even consider it a TD. I mean, it has a TD gun, but its platform is basically like a heavy tank, even though it doesn't have great armor, but it's about as slow as a heavy tank. Now, what do I like to do on Karelia Assault Attack? How do I get the most use out of this? So, there are actually quite a few plays you can make on Karelia Assault Attack, and it partly depends on which spawn you get. So you can spawn on this side or on this side on Karelia Assault Attack. If you're in something that's fast, like a light tank or a medium tank, or a fast heavy even, I usually like to make my way up the middle, like this, or like this. Now in the very beginning of the game, sometimes enemies will YOLO through the middle, and if that's the case, which it usually is, you want to make sure that you're somewhere safe by the time they get to the middle. So they're usually going to be somewhere around here by the time you're around here. So you can use this rock here. If you spawn over here, you can use this rock as cover from their base. You can just kill the tank that's YOLOing in, and then you can get unlit behind this rock, and then you can progress forward. If you come from this side, then you can use, let's see. You can use these rocks right here. So there's like two rocks here. It's kind of hard to see with all the foliage, but there's one rock. You can stay behind this rock here. Then there's this rock here, you can also kind of stay behind. I think this rock is better though. You want to see if anybody YOLOs mid in the beginning, counter them, and then after they've already YOLOed in and you're unspotted, that's when you want to progress through the middle and get to this location here. This position here is extremely strong. It's not even funny how broken that position is. But if you're not in a very fast tank, or even if you are in a very fast tank, if you spawn on the north side, probably the best position you can take is this position right here. Now what's good about this position? First of all, you spot anybody who tries to take the shortcut through here to get up to this flank. You spot them and you can shoot them. And then after you shoot, you get spotted and you pull back. The second reason this position is so strong is as long as you have at least one friendly enemy tank pushing through the middle, as this LTG is, if anyone gets spotted in the middle, then from here you have perfect shots on basically the entire middle, including if they get up into this area here, which is where most enemy tanks are trying to end up. So that's where I decided to go first in this game. Now, the GSOR doesn't have great view range, even with vents, and I think I have vents directive as well, and the increased view range skill, or field mod. I still don't have 445 view range, and even if I did have 445 view range, it's still not good enough to spot like light tanks and medium tanks from any closer than like 350 or 300 meters, depending on their camo. But it's not a big deal because we have this LTG spotting for us. Now I spot this 1357. I know that I'm gonna get lit after I fire at him, so I back off a little bit. Because oftentimes there will be tank destroyers in like maybe this area or this rock right here, and they can shoot you, so you have to be a little bit careful. But overall, I just can't, like, this is probably my favorite side of any map in any game mode in the entire game. It's just so consistently extremely good for combined damage. For damage and for combined damage, it's just very good. Now the problem we have right now is their 1357 is unlit here. And there's no guarantee that our LTG, even if he moves up to the strongest position, which is right here, there's no guarantee that he gets lit. But the good news is that he is a one-shot. So I'm hoping that someone will YOLO this 1357, or that the 1357 will make a mistake and get spotted. So I'm kind of just waiting around to see if we can kill this 1357. And what I do a lot of the time on this map, regardless of which side I spawn on this side I might go to this location and shoot the mid in the beginning. From this side I love to go to this location that I'm at right now and shoot the mid in the beginning. But after enemy tanks in the mid have died, I like to progress through the middle like this, using the rocks as cover on the way, or like this from the other side, using the rocks as cover on the way. And I like to get to this position here, but the reason why I haven't done that yet is because this 1357 is still alive. Now I noticed that their T-32 got spotted here. He's out of render, but I could potentially blind shot him. But the thing is with the GSOR, it only has 1600 DPM. Its DPM and its reload is very poor. So I don't really want to waste shots, especially since I have 3 out of 4 remaining in my clip. I want to save my shots, so I decided to save my shots, and it pays off for me because their ISU and IS get lit. And if you'll see in a second, they kind of panic. The ISU panics. He realizes that one tank has an angle on him, so he goes out into the open. Now I'm waiting for a good shot before I take it because I'm not lit yet. Or actually, I think I might be lit. I'm not sure actually, to be honest. But either way, I wait for him to go out into the open and then I kill him. And I get kind of lucky hitting all 3 of those shots, but... Now, their 1357 is still here, but we managed to kill one of their main snipers. This is a tier 7 game, so even if I do get shot, if I get spotted and I get shot going to the middle, as you'll see, a lot of their tanks have already deployed either to this side or to this side. So there's not actually that many tanks in the base that can shoot me, even if I do get lit. So I decided to take the risk and just drive in. I decided to stay behind this rock because I'm assuming the 1357 is here. And my primary goal right now is to kill these 2 guys here, because if they're here, they're just going to be a huge thorn in my side when I decide to move over to here, because they can just shoot me in the back from back here whenever I get spotted. So my main goal is to shoot them, but I noticed that I have a free shot on this 430, and so I take that instead. And then this list gets spotted as well. And I actually hit that blind shot as well. You can see there's no splash. So I think I hit 2 blind shots there. And I'm unlit now. I decided to move up to this location because the T-49 and the 1357, they don't exactly have the most threatening guns to me. I still have enough HP, I have 900 HP. So I can just get to this rock right here. And now let me describe to you what's so great about this position here. So first of all, if you have teammates pushing the southwest flank, very, very often, enemy tanks will be sitting in the low ground right here in H1, and you have easy shots on them from where I'm sitting right here, just between these 2 rocks. And so if you ever have teammates pushing through the south and they're actually taking aggressive positions here, you have easy shots on these guys. Now what else can you do from this position? I can't really do it yet because the T-49 and 1357 are still alive, but you can move up here and poke on either the left side in these bushes or on the right side in these bushes, and you'll get shots on all kinds of places, all in their base. So you can shoot people who are sitting back here, you can shoot people who are sitting on this corner, you can shoot people who are sitting at this rock, you can shoot people who are sitting here, you can shoot people who are sitting here, although you do have to be careful with these 2 positions. There are trees that you can knock over, and they can be unspotted as you poke, so you have to watch out for that. It's usually TDs who sit back here. I don't know why people sit back there. It's like the most passive position in the entire game, but it happens occasionally. And then in addition to that, if you poke from the right side, you can spot people who are playing in this corner. That's very common. very common that there's people playing on this corner, and I think you'll see that later in the game. You can shoot people who are playing on this corner right here. I know you can't see it very well, but this rock right here, you can see it on the mini-map. People like to play at this rock, and there's bushes on the edge of this rock, and if you poke up and get spotted, and you don't spot anything in return, it's very likely that they have someone just sitting in this bush here, and they have a T-32 who's been previously spotted there, so I know that I can potentially shoot this T-32 if I were to go up here, but like I said, I can't do that because of the 1357 and the T-49 not being dead yet. And then, lastly, if there's someone who's spotted at this rock, you can't shoot them from here, but if all the other angles are clear, then you can push out into the open, like all the way up to here, and then shoot them, I think, double bushed in the side, because these bushes right here on the edge of the rock are kind of between you and them here, and you can shoot them. The main thing you have to watch out for when you do that is this corner right here, because sometimes they'll be intermittently poking this corner, and so if you're just way out in the open and then they poke this corner, then you can get kind of fucked. So just watch out for that. But for now, in this situation, I can just get free shots on the 430 and the list right now. So I'm just waiting for my reload. Now this guy's looking directly at me, which kind of freaked me out for a second. I thought it was lit, but turns out I'm not. He's just a weirdo, and somehow was looking directly at me. Here I'm wondering whether I should fire or wait for him to get in a better position for me to hit him. But I decided to shoot. Fortunately, I only hit a couple shots. Now notice what I do here. I still had a shot on the 430 there, like a small shot. But I decided to focus this T-49 because, as you can see, our lightweight pushed in. And the most important thing is to kill these two tanks right now, because that will allow me to play in this position here. So I focused the T-49 rather than shooting the 430. Now one thing about the GSOR in particular is that its dispersion penalties when moving, so going forward or backwards or turning your tracks right or left, are pretty bad. So its dispersion when you're moving is pretty bad, but its dispersion when turning the turret is extremely good. So as long as you're sitting still, you can basically just use this thing as a turret and turn your turret left and right, and you're basically going to be fully aimed regardless of how quickly you're moving your turret. So I could be aiming at this guy, I see that this guy gets spotted, I just turn my turret left without moving my tracks, and I'll be fully aimed on the T-49 basically as soon as I turn towards him. Now thankfully their T-49 dies, and at this point I'm thinking about just pushing up into here, because I'm not exactly sure where this 1357 is, because he's kind of crossfire between this lightweight and this T-29, and yet he's still not getting lit. So I'm not even sure if he's here. Like, he might be somewhere back in our back lines. But regardless of whether he's here or not, even if he is here, if I poke up here, start shooting the T-32 in the side, who I'm assuming is probably still here, if their 1357 starts shooting at me, I'm only going to be taking like 70 damage per shot, and at this range it's hard for him to pen me reliably. And he should get spotted by my teammates, and then we can just kill him. As you can see, he's a one-shot, so it doesn't really matter if he's here or not. Now pay attention to what I do here. I aim for his track. I aim for his track again. And the reason why I did that is because I didn't want him pulling forward and getting away, but unfortunately he actually does get away. And this Lorraine Artie, even though I've only been spotted for like 3 seconds, he just hits me for 400 in the face. And I try to blind shot him because I can see from my indicator that he's literally sitting right here behind that bush there. But unfortunately I missed my shot. Either way though, I get out 3 shots on the T-32, which is not bad. This game is still close, but if you look at our map control, we're in a pretty good position to win. Especially since attack has an advantage if you take the middle, because it just has so many good shots all over the map. I see their Tiger 1 pushing up. You can potentially shoot the Tiger 1 by moving to this bush right here and then like moving up a little bit. There's kind of a little ridge right here, but you can kind of move up here and shoot him. But I don't really want to take the risk that I get spotted from here or back here. And you get basically just as good of shots by coming down here. Once he pushes up to this location right here, you have side shots. So that's what I decided to do. I decided to move over here to get side shots. And I'm almost loaded. And I'm hoping that our T20, our 122 TM will spot him. Just feathering for a shot. Can't find it yet. And there's a shot right there. And like I said, the fully aimed accuracy of this thing is very good. So, and here I was debating whether I should reload or not. I decided not to reload. And that's because I'm pretty sure I can shoot this Tiger 1 in the side by coming up here. So that's why I hold my shots. The reload on this thing is like, I think it's like 40 seconds or something, so. Oh yeah, by the way, for equipment for this tank, I run, it can't use a V-stab, but what I use is, vents, improved aiming unit, and turbo. That's my primary loadout. That's the loadout that I would recommend. Especially if you have like a bounty turbo or a bond turbo, because TDs can't get a boosted mobility slot for a regular turbo. I think that's the best decision, especially since this thing's reverse speed is not great. It's only like 20 with turbo. So that's what the turbo is pretty good for. You don't necessarily need aiming unit. You could use rotation mechanism because, like I said, while you're moving your tank left and right or forward and backwards, its dispersion is pretty poor. But as long as you're stationary, you don't really need anything like a V-stab or a rotation mechanism anyway. Not that you can mount a V-stab. But I just find the turbo to be more useful overall. Now what you could also run instead of the improved aiming unit, you could run hardening. You could also run optics because it doesn't have the best view range. You could drop the turbo for a rotation mechanism for better dispersion on the move. But honestly, I think in 80 or 90% of games I would just use the turbo, vents, and improved aiming unit loadout. The vents you should have on every single loadout just because it reduces the reload by like a second or two. Or I think even more than that, like probably 2 seconds. Here, this guy's kind of blocking my shot with his gun. I decided to save my last shot for the Scorpion just because he's a guaranteed pen. And I set him on fire, which is very nice. It's unfortunate. I could have gotten 4 shots there if our T-29 didn't gun block me. But I don't know exactly where their 1357 was, but either way he's dead now, so I don't even have to worry about someone shooting me in the back. But if you look at the map and you look at our HP and you look at the number of tanks, we're clearly winning in this situation. All that's unlit is the arty. So what I'm planning on doing right now, I see I have a shot on the Tiger. I'm planning on hugging the inside and going up like this so that I can shoot the Tiger in the side while remaining unlit from the Ferdinand. Because I am a one-shot for the Ferdinand if he has a big gun, which I wasn't paying attention to which gun he has, but most likely he has a big gun. And the pen on this tank is fantastic. It's 321, which is just great. I waste another shot on that guy. Not sure if I should have done that. Probably shouldn't have. I probably should have just saved my shot if I'm going for maximum damage, which I am in this tank. And I decided to flank the Ferdinand instead of facing him direct on because I don't think that anyone's going to damage him anyway, so there's no real rush for me to YOLO into the Ferdinand. I'm just going to take my time and flank him so that he has no chance of killing me. But as you can see, he's still here. And I get 2 shots in. And I try to ram him as well, but he he dies before I get the chance. So let's go over the post-game stats real quick. As you can see, I did 6.3k damage, 4 kills, and 900 spotting damage. Mastery badge as well. Not sure how much base XP that was, but pretty good game. The GSOR is a tank that has very high potential, and I would consider it one of the best tier 8 tanks in general for average damage. Right now I'm aiming for like 35 or 3600 average damage in this thing. I don't think it's quite as good as like a Renegade or a Skoda T56, but it certainly is extremely powerful because 1280 clip damage is just completely insane. You can kill most tier 8s with that amount of clip damage, just with one clip. And its accuracy isn't even bad either. It's not like a KV2 where you have to like hope and pray that you hit. So it's a pretty insane tank, but I would recommend it. If you're into, you might have to play a little bit passive with this tank, but overall it's a very strong tank, especially if you're firing full gold. But even without gold, 226 pen is not bad at all. So yeah, hopefully that's taught you a thing or two about how to play Karelia Assault Attack. If you don't have Assault enabled, I would highly recommend you do enable it because, in my opinion, the Assault game mode on average is better than standard battles or encounter battles for average damage and average combined once you learn how to actually play them properly. So yeah, thanks for watching. There should be another video coming out tomorrow. See you later.